Okay, there's a lot of talk about what are the best teams that we have ever seen, but we don't tend to spend enough attention on what are the worst NFL teams we have seen. So we're just doing 21st century here. So from the 2000 season on, who are the worst teams that I have seen play? Let's just get into the list. Number 10, I am going the 2010 Carolina Panthers, who were 2-14 this year. This was the John Fox's last year as the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. If you remember, this was the Jimmy Clausen year where they, in the second round, selected Jimmy Clausen. Mel Kiper very famously said that if he doesn't work out, that Mel Kiper said he would retire. Well, after just one season, the Panthers finished 2-14 and decided to select Cam Newton the following year. It was not a very good campaign for the Carolina Panthers. They just didn't really have much going at all. So they're number 10 on the list. Number 9, I'm going to 2021 Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that was just fresh off of a worst overall season where they got the first overall pick. They decided to select Trevor Lawrence with that pick. They hire Urban Meyer, trying to create a new era here in Jacksonville. And one of the worst situations a young quarterback has ever been in. It really is saying something that Trevor Lawrence was able to just survive that season. Because, at one point they had Laviska Shenault as their number one receiver. And I don't mean for one game it happened. It was for over a month they had this. Obviously, Urban Meyer got fired before the season even ended. Just one of the worst teams we've seen in recent memory, certainly. So they are the most recent team to make this list. They, also kind of famously won their first game. They tweeted out not satisfied at 1-0 and proceeded to lose every game the rest of the season. Actually, a quick correction here. I got some of my bad Jaguars teams mixed up. The team that I'm talking about here, the 2021 Urban Meyer Jacksonville Jaguars team, they actually won 3 games, not only one game. That was the year prior. They only won 1 game, but I think they were worse this year. They were just messier at the very least this year. And this is the team I want to talk about. So yeah, you could argue that the 2020 Jaguars got snubbed, but I'll go 2021 Jaguars. Number 8 is the 2000 San Diego Chargers, who were still holding out some hope that perhaps Ryan Leaf could finally turn things around this year. They had just drafted him as number 2 overall, not too long prior. Ultimately, this is a complete disaster. This is a team that won 1 game all year, and that 1 game was by 1 point over the Kansas City Chiefs. So you might be thinking, okay, winning 1 game by 1 point, that's about as close as you can get to going 0-16 without actually going 0-16, right? Actually, technically it isn't. The 2007 Miami Dolphins were fresh off of a Nick Saban tenure that ultimately did not end well. He tried to sign Drew Brees, didn't work out. You had Dante Culpepper, that didn't work out, and you ended up with the 2007 Dolphins that, unlike the Chargers, who won by a point, the Dolphins did not lead at the end of any of their games this season. They did, however, on week 15, after starting 0-13, go play the Ravens, and they went to overtime where the Dolphins were able to ultimately pull off their victory to go up to 1-13 before dropping their final 2 games of the season and ending 1-15. Their starting quarterback was John Beck, the second round pick. They had some other guys on the roster, as but that was their Trent Green and Cleo Lemon, the 3-headed monster of John Beck, Trent Green, and Cleo Lemon. How did they only win 1 game? I decided to go with the 2020 Jets, another recent example. Obviously, these are all somewhat recent, but this one only from a few years ago. Yeah, 2020 Jets, they were definitely it was a tough team. It was a tough team. This was the Adam Gase year where they had lost every game. Adam Gase got fired, I believe, if I remember correctly, in the middle of this season. There was a game against the Raiders when it was looking like the Jets might finally get a victory, and the Raiders hit a Hail Mary to beat the Jets, and then the Jets just randomly beat the. They were able to beat the Rams by significant fashion, and that ultimately ended up getting them out of the first overall selection. That was the Jaguars the year prior, who were 1-15, and they had, because again, Jaguars had back-to-back first overall picks, so that was one of the Jaguars' first overall picks. But yeah, a very, very bad Jets team. Frank Gore was a legitimate piece on this team still in 2020. So yeah, definitely a rough showing by the Jets. Sorry, no no video, I realized I forgot to record this part, so I'm just going back and recording the audio for it. But the 2000 Browns make number 5 on the list, a team that actually won 3 games, so that's kind of a lot on this list. But this was probably the worst offense on the list, and that is certainly saying something. They had the lowest point total in the 21st century. They also had 5 shutouts. They got shut out 5 times this season. This was the Tim Couch year. Well, he played for some of the year. An awful offense. The defense still wasn't very good, but that's good enough to win 3 games. Number 4, I am going the 2009 St. Louis Rams as one of the worst teams that I have ever seen. Another 1-15 team that has actually the worst point differential of the 21st century, so you have that going. And the part of why I decided to put them so high on this list as well, there's a couple other 1-15 teams that barely got their 1 win at a certain point. The Rams ended up beating a team by 7 points. It was a game that they were able to win, but it was against the Detroit Lions from 2009. If you remember, 2008 was the year the Lions lost every single game. So then 2009, Stafford was still playing like very much a rookie that season and didn't have a lot of help around him, obviously. And they were able to beat that Lions team. That was their only win that the Rams had this year. This was a rough Rams team, and if it wasn't for getting an opportunity to play another bad team, an all-time bad team, it's possible they would be another 0-16 team. Number 2 and 3, let's just put them together. The Cleveland Browns of 2016 and 2017 both make the top 3. Listen, this Cleveland Browns team somehow had, in their 2016 campaign, had a stretch where they only won 1 football game, and that was due to multiple missed field goals by the Chargers at the end of the game that allowed the Browns to win. And they somehow followed that up with a 0-16 campaign. They went 1-31 in a stretch that still didn't get Hugh Jackson fired. Somehow Hugh Jackson was able to start the next year before finally, leaving. The good news is this led to Baker Mayfield. The bad news is that led to them getting rid of Baker Mayfield, but at least for a stretch, it felt like it was going well. But yeah, these were just, and the thing about these Browns teams too is they played competitive games at times, especially like 2017. There was a handful of games I thought they were going to find a way to win, and they just couldn't end up doing it. So yeah, the 2 teams that had 1 win in a 32-game stretch has to be in the top 3, but there is, to me, a clear-cut number 1. The 2008 Detroit Lions, the Dan Orlovsky running out of the back of the end zone Detroit Lions, who still had Calvin Johnson, which is just the craziest thing in the world, and goes to show how much football is still a team sport, that even one of the all-time best players can still be on one of the all-time worst teams. So, yeah, that is my list. Let me know in the comments below. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.